All right, let's talk about using the product rule again and do a quick example here. If you're unfamiliar with the derivative rules, go ahead and check out the video I have on them that will show up earlier in this derivatives playlist for my Cal 1 series of videos. All right, so let's get started. The product rule states that f times g prime is just equal to f prime g plus f g prime, or because of the commutative properties, the commutative property of addition and multiplication, any order that you wish, where you have f and g on each side being multiplied by one another and the opposite being prime on each side. So it doesn't matter. Order means nothing here. So this is the product rule, and I want to use the product rule to evaluate a rather simple product here. Let's use it to evaluate f of x is equal to 3x squared times 7x cubed. Well, I think the first thing we need to do is we need to figure out what our f and our g are. So our f is just going to be this first function here on the left, the 3x squared. This is going to be f. And our g is just going to be the function here on the right, the 7x cubed, because it comes second. So honestly, we could put this in either order. It's still not going to matter. We're just doing this for convenience, for convention. So that's the reason I have this here. We have our f and we have our g. All right, so anyway, let's continue on with this. What we're going to need to do here is plug everything into the product rule formula. And so now that we got these two pieces, we just need to go ahead and set this up in our product rule. But we said that the product rule is f times g prime is just f prime g plus f g prime, right? So let's go ahead, and I apologize if I just repeated anything there. I actually, I know you can't tell on the video, but I had this video, I paused the recording and stopped for about 7.5 hours, and now I'm just coming back into this video. So that is that's why there's some repeating, if there is any indeed. I can't go back and check. So anyway, all right, enough about that. Let's go ahead and get going. So this is our f, this is our g. So we're going to have 3x squared prime times 7x cubed plus 3x squared times 7x cubed prime. Well, now we just need to determine what all this is going to be. Well, the 3x squared and the 7x cubed here, well, they're just going to stay the same. All right, so let's go ahead and plug this in. We're going to have the plus sign here. All right, 7x cubed is the same. 3x squared is the same. Now, what are these terms going to be? 3x squared prime. Well, we're just going to use the product rule here, which says x to the nth power is equal, the prime of x to the nth power is equal to n times x to the n minus 1. So we're going to multiply 2 by 3. We're going to pull it down, and we're going to get 6. Our x is going to stay the same. And then n minus 1, 2 minus 1 is 1 to the first power, so this is just 6x, but we'll put to the first just for illustration purposes here if we're taking screenshots. And we'll put our product rule, or our power rule, up here in the upper right-hand corner. So x to the nth prime is just equal to n x to the n minus 1. Okay, so that's our little aside there about the power rule. Okay, and what now? All right, we need 7x cubed prime. Well, we're going to multiply this 3 times 7, so we're just going to get 21x, and then 3 minus 1 is 2, so 21x squared. And let's see, power rule. Great. So we have this. What is this going to equal? Well, let's just start simplifying things. We have 6x times 7x cubed. Uh, 6x multiplied by 7x cubed, added to, well, maybe if I can draw parentheses, okay, added to 3x squared plus 21x squared, so 3x squared, not plus, times 21x squared. Yikes, these are some pretty big numbers, right? Well, what is this all going to equal? This is just going to all we have a coefficient to a coefficient, then a variable raised to a power. So what this is all going to end up equaling is 63x to the fourth on this side. And then over here on the left, our 6x times our 7x cubed, this is going to equal, if I can draw once again, 42x to the fourth. So we have 42x to the fourth added to 63x to the fourth. Well, this is actually pretty convenient, right? Because we have each is now raised to the fourth power. So when we add them, we can just add the bottom, and we can just add the coefficients, because if the variable and the exponent are the same, then we can just add the coefficients preceding them when we are adding the entire term. So all of this is just going to equal 105x to the fourth. Hope you'll forgive me for skipping some of these more arithmetical steps. I really don't think it's necessary once we're at the point where we can do this type of math. So f prime of x is equal to 105x to the fourth. This is our final derivative, and we're done. Let's go ahead and do a quick recap of what we were doing here. We used the power rule. I'm sorry, the power rule. We did end up using the power rule, but we were talking about the product rule. So we wanted to use the product rule to evaluate the prime or the derivative, or to differentiate. F of x equals 3x squared times 7x cubed. So we put things into the product rule formula, and then we used our power rule in order to take the derivatives within that. And then we just did some simple, not even algebra wasn't even required, just some basic simple arithmetical addition, and we were able to arrive at the final value, or the final answer, that f prime of x is equal to 105x to the fourth.